Hello, everyone. Good morning to you. Hope everyone got a good night of sleep last night. I'm going to go ahead and upload my notes. I don't think you guys are used to seeing me in a tie, but I thought it was appropriate since I have a whiteboard behind me. I guess I can act like a professor, right? Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Just a little preface again before I start this video. So many of you have seen my other videos criticizing same-sex marriage and its new definitions of marriage, and I've received plenty of criticism back, and a lot of it was much appreciative. Every person that has critiqued my approach to marriage has disagreed with me because they understand marriage to be about love and nothing more. And I will admit that natural marriage can be oppressive to many in many ways, and the legal freedom to love freely will fix problems that marriage restricted individuals to do only if romance is truly the reality of marriage. In fact, the freedom to love whomever and however is changing the definition of love and freedom in ways that we've never seen before. Okay, I'm gonna wait, guys, for a few more people to come on in. Make sure you guys like and share these videos. I really do appreciate all the support and the critiques. I don't have a lot of time to wait on people, but last night I did a video and somehow my videos keep getting erased from Facebook, and so that's why I'm doing one this morning. Okay, so let me go ahead and jump right into it. Natural marriage. This is this structure right here. Okay, recognizes that not every marriage will have a child, okay, but that every child is the result of a man and a woman. So therefore, natural marriage is this great project that tries to ensure that every child has a mother and a father. Since men and women are the only ones that can have children, those are the only people who can become mother and father to any child born from their union. And it promotes an idea that sex only should be shared between husband and wife, and of course, that is in marriage. It was built off these four natural pillars, okay? And though these pillars, they come natural to virtually every human being in all of human history up until 2012 when we redefined marriage, my critics believe, even though they come natural, that they are still restrictive, that they are still oppressive because they are all grounded in the responsibility of raising children. And we know how restrictive responsibility can be, right? And those four pillars are biology, so only a man and woman can have a child, right? They're all sexually exclusive. And why do we want these people being sexually exclusive? Well, because if you notice here, we have a man and woman, and they each have 3 children. Those children are all in the black. Eventually, those children will meet, their wife, husband, and wife, and then they will produce their own children. It would be a wrong thing to do if this husband, right, fell in love with somebody else and left that family. That would be a wrong thing to do. But I've talked to many of you, and you believe that that is restricting his love life. And so this is what natural marriage is ordered towards. It's ordered towards raising each child, right? Ensuring that each child does have a mother and a father. But we know that that is very oppressive to adult desire. And so that's why we're moving into this new vision of marriage where love is just released. Love is released from responsibility. We get all the benefits of marriage, right? And we cut the responsibility. The responsibility is no longer a priority. And when I say responsibility, I mean children. Okay. So it was based on biology. Sexual exclusivity is based on this idea of permanence, right? So it would give the household some stability, that the child would always have a mother and father. And lastly, based on consent, These are not arranged marriages, right? Your will is included into the marriage. No one can force you to be married outside of your will. And in the 1960s, this vision of marriage that I'm talking about right now was lived out, and it was lived out into the way that children born into single parent homes or out of wedlock births were in the single digits nationwide. So this is something that people are capable of, but again, because of things like no fault divorce, right? When we redefine marriage for the first time, and just the marital breakdown, the sexual revolution, the hookup culture, the porn industry, all of these ideas are informing our vision, our beliefs, our values about what marriage should be today. Okay, no fault divorce taught that divorce, or you could divorce your spouse for any reason or no reason at all, and this law was made out of compassion of just a few unhappy marriages, right? But we see that people internalize that, and today we are seeing 40% of children are being born outside a home with their mother and father, and the divorce rate teeters around 50%. Okay, natural marriage said that you could divorce for abuse, abandonment, or adultery. I think those are all legitimate reasons. And again, in the 1960s, people did live this out. So today, this is what you guys have been waiting for. Today, I'm going to be doing a visual video to show how the new purpose of marriage will play out in society. So the slogan is love, love makes a family, equality, right? But those are all terms that are not very good descriptors of what marriage is, at least for me. So I don't want to use my own assumptions about what this new version of marriage is going to look like. So I took a look at the leading philosophers, lawyers, professors, scholars, and on their account of what marriage is, I tried to compile a list of their ideas from advocates of marriage equality, the LGBT community, as well as some of my critics, so to help me and to help others better understand what marriage should be and how we should live it out. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is from Dan Savage, and he says that he was in an interview with New York Magazine, and the question that was posed to him was, how will gay marriage inform or help natural marriage? And he said that gay marriage will teach straight couples the monogamish relationship. And he went on to say that there are virtues in infidelity, that he believes that it is inhumane and unrealistic to place expectations on your spouse and that they could meet your sexual needs for a lifetime, right? And that is what's wrong with marriage. Andrew Sullivan says something to that extent. He says that sexual openness will actually enhance the husband-wife relationship. Colleen Hoff, New York Times writer, says that sexual exclusivity is not a norm among gay couples, and then goes on to say with straight people, it's called an affair, it's called cheating, but with gay people, it does not have such a negative connotation. The Advocate newspaper then reports that the tradition of gay male openness will actually change marriage, and could that be such a bad thing? And then Professor Judith Stacy from New York University expressed hope that redefined marriage would give marriage varied, creative, adaptive contours, leading some to question the limitations of Western marriage and seek small group marriages. These are called polyamorous marriages, okay? And then another statement, this one was submitted to the Supreme Court. This was also a book written called Beyond Same-Sex Marriage. And we see that over 300 LGBT and allied scholars call for legalizing or legally recognizing sexual relationships involving two or more partners. Since biology is not a prerequisite, right, or requirement for marrying somebody, the number two goes out the window. Okay, so it used to be man and woman, and that's how we arrived at two. But since marriage is not based in biology anymore, the number two logically goes out the window. This was supported by Gloria Steinem. She's a feminist. Judith Stacy, sociology professor. Elizabeth Povinelli, anthropologist professor. Cornel West, a religious professor. Robin West and Chai Fieldblum, as well as many others. As you can see, we have a range of people from different expertises in life supporting this idea that marriage should be open to just more than one other person, right? Elizabeth Brake from ASU says that we should use legal recognition of marriage to demoralize monogamy as a way of life, demoralize it, remove its value from our conscience, right? Because it's discriminate towards homosexuals, bisexuals, and polygamous care networks. Okay, again, more than one person, more than or having more than one spouse, right? In 2009, Newsweek reported over 500,000 households. Everyone in the relationship, and they asked this question. It says, everyone in a relationship at some point wrestles with this eternal question: can one person really satisfy every need? Polymorphs think the answer is obvious, and it's only a matter of time before the monogamous world sees there's more than one way to live and to love. And the last one we have is from Washington Post in 2013. They came up with this new word, this new relationship called the wed lease, and it was a proposed to fix divorce. And it says that two people can commit to marriage for a period of years, 1, 5, maybe 10 years. The marital lease could be renewed at the end of each term, however many times the couple would like. And that was from Paul Rampell. Okay, so I want to take a look, based off these principles, these values, these ideas, what marriage should be, what it should look like. And so I've created a few different narratives here. These will all make sense here in a second. So let's look at this first one. As you can see, we have a lesbian couple. The lesbian couple can't produce children on their own, okay? So a brother of one of the lovers impregnates the other lover, and they have a child. After all, children don't have to be created through an act of love anymore. That old, antiquated, restricted certain individuals from having children. And now we have better understanding that adults should have a higher right to a child than children do to a mother, father. So there really is no harm. We'll call this little boy Johnny, okay? So little Johnny wonders why his uncle dad willingly gave him life but won't willingly raise him. Secretly, he'd like to quit calling his dad uncle and get to know him as a father and not someone just in passing. Johnny doesn't want to stir up things in the home because he loves his mothers and they love him. But it just seems like too much to ask if Johnny could spend time with his dad and his busy life and his family. So one day, Johnny's sent to the counselor's office because he got in trouble at school. And he finally worked up the courage to tell somebody about his dilemma and his years of frustration of wanting to know and be raised by his father. But under the new marriage laws, also favored by the counselor informed Johnny that his family arrangement was not the problem, but the problem was within Johnny. Johnny is confused because he thinks he needs the help of a man to achieve direction towards masculinity. Marriage now teaches he doesn't need a dad in order, and this is all in order to protect the dignity of love of this lesbian couple. Okay, so Johnny went on, he turned out all right though, okay? He went on to do well, partly because he joined the football team and developed a strong relationship with the coach. Though his family didn't provide the father figure to affirm him, that's just kind of Johnny's personal battle, his personal life battle. It's not the family's job to provide a father figure, okay? So next one we have here, we have a bisexual couple here, okay? Two female bisexual couple. And they aren't sexually satisfied with each other. So they take Andrew Sullivan's advice and they try to enhance their marriage with the openness, right? So they each have two male lovers that they sleep with regularly on the side. Partner A accidentally gets pregnant. We'll call this relationship partner A, okay? Of course, the man doesn't want to raise a child because he's not married to partner A, and marriage doesn't value fatherhood, and partner A knows this, so she doesn't even put up a fight. She tells partner B, and they agree to raise the child together, and over the course of time, partner B gets pregnant, okay? The bisexual couple decides that they don't have, it's not convenient right now to raise another child. Unfortunately, they abort the baby. Partner B doesn't understand the psychological effects of abortion and became sort of detached from life. Okay, so because partner B wasn't meeting the emotional needs of partner A, they decided that divorce was the best option. They go to the court to decide custody over the child. The court rules that partner A and partner B are equally the mother of the child, since biology is not a basis for marriage or for raising children. So biology will not decide custody. The court will decide who the parent is. And long story short, partner A ends up losing her natural child, right, to partner B. Okay, let's look at the third instance. So we have a bisexual gentleman named David, and we have a straight gentleman named Santiago. David and Santiago are friends. Santiago is from Venezuela, and they agreed to get married in order so that Santiago can gain some citizenship. They agreed to divorce after Santiago receives his green card, and besides, Santiago's got a girlfriend on the side, right? He's not really interested in that relationship after all, okay? So it ended up being a thing where Santiago got his girlfriend pregnant before they divorced. So under the new marriage laws, any child born to one set of parents is automatically a child to all the parents. So once the divorce happened, David ended up getting suckered into a child support deal. Santiago and his girlfriend have been planning that from the beginning. Let's go ahead and now and look at the John and Carol story. This one was actually published in New York Times. Okay, so John and Carol, they met each other at the preschool. That their children shared the same preschool. That's how they became friends. They became such close friends, in fact, that their families went on vacation. Over time, they fell in love. The problem was they were married to other spouses. Okay, the first words of the article say, "What happens when love comes at the wrong time?" Carol began to see her position as one who is stuck. She was stuck as a wife to one man and a mother to his children. And she says that in the article that she began to see that as a punishment. The children weren't the punishment. Her husband wasn't the punishment. The fact that she had to commit in a loving relationship permanently and exclusively, that was the punishment. Then she goes on to say that she started seeing her dilemma of loving another man and the unconditional love that she felt from him was a gift, but this gift had to be earned. Eventually, they ended up getting married. They ended up leaving their families, creating all kinds of conflict with the children, turmoil for the children, admitted it in the article. But she says this, Carol says this: "My kids are going to look at me and know that I am flawed and I am not perfect, but they are also going to know that I was deeply in love." And this is what marriage should teach, right? Marriage should teach that love makes a family, love wins. Love is all a child needs. I can love you inside the home. I can love you outside the home. It doesn't matter as long as children are being loved. They don't need their mother. They don't need their father. That's the ideas that we have to promote. Love makes a family. Then there's Kevin and Gabby. Okay. Kevin and Gabby are teenagers about to graduate high school, and then Gabby gets pregnant. They decide that they're going to give their son up for adoption. Kevin, okay, always wanted to be a father someday, but mostly because his father wasn't there for him. He felt terrible because parenthood came too early. Yeah, he made a dumb decision to have sex before marriage, but it doesn't make it any easier to make the right decision when the marriage culture doesn't value sex between a husband and wife anymore. In fact, marriage is not a distinct relationship like it used to be. It used to be that marriage was a different kind of relationship because only a husband and wife could have sex. But marriage today is distinct from its emotional intensity. As John Corvino says, it should establish your number one person. Okay, so it will have what every other relationship has, just more of it. It will be different in degree, not types. Anyways, Kevin prayed that the adoption agency would give his son a father like he never had. So he gave his son over to a Christian-based adoption agency. Well, one day this lesbian woman, Lisa, had been wanting a child for a few years and was at a place in life where a child was convenient. Uh, Unfortunately, though, she had a reputation of being just kind of crazy, being kind of a weirdo. So most of her relationships didn't last very long, at least not long enough for her to get pregnant. She was going to save up to buy some sperm from a donor, but decided that she didn't want to mess up her physique with a baby. So she went to this Christian adoption agency near here, and she wanted to adopt Kevin's son. The adoption agency was reluctant to match Lisa because she was not married to a man. The adoption agency tried to explain to Lisa that adoption agencies exist to give children the father and mother they need, and not adults the children they want. Okay, and this was requested by the father and mother of the birth parents, right? So Lisa knew that the marriage law said that adults have a higher right to children than children do to a mother-father. So she was confident in taking the agency to court. The adoption agency was ultimately shut down based on discrimination laws. The adoption agency did all it could to respect the wishes of Kevin and as well as many other parents, but suggesting a child needs a father is a form of discrimination. After all, love is what makes a family. Okay. Then there's the polyamorous relationship. And this one is from 4 loving people living under one roof, splitting income, splitting bills. And you know how they try to get you with those phone bills, right? You get 10 on a plan and your phone bill is like super cheap. So they were using one of those cheap phone plans, right? And they were just really coming up in life until Ned was born, okay? And this is little Ned. None of the parents wanted children. They just formed this relationship because it fulfilled their sexual needs, okay? But when Ned was born, it brought in a new kind of responsibility, one that they weren't really expecting. Because there were too many cooks in the kitchen, okay, a family split was inevitable. The court worked out an elaborate plan for custody where all 4 parents would see Ned during different weeks in the month. Ned used to cry at school because he never knew who was going to pick him up or which house he was going to stay the night at. Ned now lives with his natural mom full time, and he's doing all right. One of the parents visits regularly. The other 2, including his natural father, live and love together on the other side of town, and they just send their child support check. They believe the new ideas about marriage, that as long as the child's receiving love from someone, the child will be fine. They live happily experiencing this new type of freedom, one that frees adult love life from the responsibility of raising children. Besides, children don't need fathers anyway. So these are all different scenarios of what could happen. And now I say what could happen, but I've put stars right here by the ones that I have read, that these are personal accounts from court cases. I've seen them in newspapers. Okay, different marriage conferences have talked about these issues before, and even some of you have. Especially this one right here, where the father leaves his family to be in love with another family. Many of my critics have supported that idea because, after all, it would be wrong to make a child stay in an environment that was hostile because parents argued, right? See, this version of marriage, when parents argue, when parents fell out of love, right? The parents then had to learn a new idea of love. They had to learn that love is not just about passion and getting what I want and taking from the relationship, but it was what can I give to the relationship. It had to be sacrificial. It had to be enduring. It taught that love had to be forgiving, right? And that those were all virtues that were important for children to see. At heart, love was based on service, where in this vision of marriage, love is based on personal fulfillment, satisfaction, and autonomy. Okay? So, as you can see from these few cases, adult romance is priority over children and over stable family life. Is this marriage reality, or is this marriage equality? And in all those examples I just mentioned, it seems like whatever sort of love is given to the child, that is always enough. But love between the lovers was never enough, so they had to go outside their marriage to find their emotional and sexual fulfillment. And again, all of these articles that I mentioned, the monogamous relationship, the polyamorous articles, the wed lease articles, None of those mention children or family life. If you don't think that same-sex marriage is going to change, let me reassure you. I'm going to read you a few quotes, or change marriage, excuse me. If you don't think same-sex marriage is going to change marriage, natural marriage, into a new direction, let me read you what some marriage equality activists are saying. So a lesbian activist, Masha Gessen, says, it's a no-brainer that same-sex couples should have the right to marry, but I also think equally that it's a no-brainer that the institution of marriage should not exist. Fighting for gay marriage generally involves lying about what we are going to do with marriage when we get there, because we lie that the institution of marriage is going to change, or is not going to change, and that is a lie. Lesbian social historian E.J. Graff says that same-sex marriage is a breathtakingly subversive idea. Victoria Brownworth says that former President Bush is correct when he states that allowing same-sex couples to marry will weaken the institution of marriage. It will most certainly do so, and it will make marriage a far better concept than it previously has been. Professor Ellen Willis says that recognizing same-sex marriage will introduce an implicit revolt against the institution to its very heart. So as you can see, natural marriage, because this relationship was naturally ordered towards children and family life, the adults had to learn this new version, or this version of love that was sacrificial, right? It wasn't going to be just about them, just about their love life. They had to sacrifice, endure, forgive. It was about commitment and service, right? But we see how oppressive that could be to adult love life. This new vision of marriage removes those restrictions, removes those responsibilities, and says that love is about fulfillment, satisfaction, gratification, again, and autonomy. And I ask you this question again: is marriage more naturally ordered towards love, or is marriage more naturally ordered towards children? Is this marriage reality? Is this marriage equality? I thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Make sure to like and share this video, and also to subscribe to my YouTube channels for more videos, okay? Thank you guys. Have a good one. Excuse me.